Hello everyone, this is Tracy at For the Love of Stamping and welcome to my craft room. Today I'm going to show you how to make this card here, which features all new products from the 2020-2021 Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. So let me show you all the supplies you're going to need to make this card. We'll start off with our cardstock. You're going to need a card base, which is the Seaside Spray, which measures 5.5 by 8.5. You're going to need also some of the Misty Moonlight, which measures 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. This is a brand new in color. It's beautiful how nicely it goes with the Seaside Spray. I have a piece of new designer series paper, which is from the series called In Good Taste, and it measures 5 1/4 by 4. You'll need a piece of Whisper White so that you can stamp your greeting, your flowers, and your ferns, which we'll use some ink to color those in. You'll need a piece of Pretty Peacock, which we're going to use some new dies to cut out that shape. From a stamp set perspective, let's have a look at the stamp sets you're going to use. So the first one is Tasteful Touches, and we're going to use the greeting and the flower from this brand new stamp set. It has a set of coordinating dies, which are called Tasteful Touches, and we'll use just the one framelit out of here, which is this shape right here. For the ferns, we're going to use my go-to brand new stamp set, Forever Fern. We're going to use these two ferns that are in this stamp set. We'll stamp them in ink and use Stella to color them. And the dies, you're going to use these two right here to cut out the two ferns. 14 dies in that set of dies, and there are 10 dies in the Tasteful labels. For stamping, you're going to use a Memento ink that we're going to use to stamp our flowers in, and then I'll use Stampin' blends to color. We're going to use the Pretty Peacock ink as well, and that we're going to stamp the ferns with, and then I will shade them with the Clear Wink of Stella, which will give them that sort of glistening look. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's got a little bit of a glisten to those. And then I'm going to use some Wink of Stella also on the flowers. And then for the coloring of the flowers, we're going to use the light and the dark Seaside Spray Stampin' blends. Then to finish off the card, I want to use some ribbon. I'm going to make a nice little bow, and we're going to use this white with silver trim metallic ribbon. Some silver metallic pearls, as well as a new punch to create these little flowers that you can see here. This is called the Confetti Flower Punch, and I'll just take a piece of the Misty Moonlight cardstock and I will punch that out. Let's get started on making the card. All right, so I'll move all this stuff out of the way, give myself some space so that we can make our card. Let's start with the card base. We'll fold the cardstock in half to make our card base. And I'll grab my bone folder, give that a nice crisp edge, a nice crease on it. And then I can layer my designer series paper right on top of the Misty Moonlight. And that designer series paper again is called In Good Taste. So I like to use Tombow to put this on so I can move it around and get it nicely squared up. Even the back of the designer series paper is absolutely gorgeous. You know, it's a nice gray that has texture to it. This could be really pretty on a card as well. Put some there. All right, we'll flip this over and we'll line this up right onto the Misty Moonlight, like so. All right, that looks pretty good. We'll press it down so that the edges catch. All right, now I'll take some more and I'll put that onto the card front. And then I'll move aside these pieces and we'll start coloring the flowers. Now the flowers don't have a die in the set, so I fussy cut them ahead of time just to save some time. And I'll show you the coloring that I'm going to do with the Seaside Spray Stampin' Blends. Now I'm going to turn this around because I don't know if there's an up or a right side or a wrong side on this, but I'm going to do it this way. So we'll lay that right on top. And then pick it up and move it around until it looks like it's nicely centered. That looks pretty good. Press it down. Okay, and I'll move that aside. All right, so now let's grab the flowers that I pre-stamped, and then we'll color those in. Which I pre-stamped and put somewhere. Oh well. Okay, so I won't bother too much with that. I think what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and show you the already colored in version just to save us some time. And from that, then I'll move on to coloring in the floral images as well. In fact, why don't I do this? I will go ahead and I'll stamp one here because I wanted to show you the coloring of these because it's really easy to do, and I think you'll appreciate seeing just how I'm actually doing the coloring on them. Oh, here we go. I got one already cut out. This will do. One already stamped and cut, and that'll save me some time. All right, so let's grab a piece of paper I like to put underneath because I find that what happens is that the blends will bleed through. I'm just going to show you quickly how I've colored these. Okay, so I started in the center with the dark Seaside Spray, and I just colored over the center. And then where we see these lines, I just took the dark and I just colored over top of those. And as I continue to do this, I'm then going to come in with the light Seaside Spray, and I'll blend that up to the edge, like so. Always coming over the initial color that I laid first, which was the dark Seaside Spray. Okay, and we just blend that up to the top. And I did that on the entire image, and at the end of it, what I ended up doing is I came back with the dark because I really wanted it to pop, and I recolored over the surface of the middle here, and then I took a little bit more back to those lines because I wanted to see some definition on it. So that's how I ended up coloring the flower. Okay, let's move that aside, and let's grab our saying, which I've already stamped ahead of time using the Pretty Peacock ink on a piece of Whisper Right, and I die cut that using this die right here, as I already showed you, the Tasteful label. Okay, ran it through the die cutting machine, and now I'm going to take that piece and I'm going to adhere this one in behind. But before I do, you'll see in my card that I have it showing on the edges here, and what I want to do is I'm going to cut it in half and I'm going to offset them a little bit. So I'll grab my little mini paper trimmer that I received from Stampin' Up! Last year, and then I'll just place this in my paper trimmer, and I'm just going to cut that in half. All right, take my two pieces, move those aside, and then using some Tombow glue, I'm going to adhere this one on this side and this one on the bottom over to the edge of on the right side. And I'm not going to worry about this because it's going to be covered with the flower. Okay, so we'll move those aside. Let me just go ahead and adhere these together. I'll use some Tombow. Like so. Let's do this just to get it started, pick it up, and move it just a little bit. All right, that looks pretty good. And I'll do the same with the bottom. Grab some more Tombow. I think I'm getting low in my Tombow. There we go. And then just place this one like so and flip it over. And just try to make it even like I've done on the top, so that I have about the same amount of stitching showing on the top edge as I do on the bottom. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so we'll set that aside for now. Now that these have had a little bit of time to dry a little bit, I like to wait before I use my Wink of Stella. I'm just going to add some of the Wink of Stella into various areas on each of these flowers so that they shimmer a little bit more. So I'll do it on the surface of the center. And then I'm going to take it over some of the darker areas, just to make it pop, even just around where it's most dark on this image, like that. Okay, and I'll do the same on the other flower. So let me just pick that up and bring it into view here for you. See it a little bit better, some of the shimmer on that right about there. Okay, and the same with this one. This stamp set with its coordinating dies can be purchased obviously as a bundle, but during the month of June, Stampin' Up! Has a Bundle Bash promotion going on in which you can get a bundle for free when you purchase the starter kit. This one here, I'll have to check the pricing and I'll look it up and post it on my blog post. I'm not quite sure what the price is of it off the top of my head, but definitely something to consider if you're looking at all the bundles. They're really great to have them together. Everything coordinates so nicely. So those are the two flowers. I had, as I mentioned, I did these little ferns ahead of time, and I took my Wink of Stella, and to bring that color in, to blend it in, all I did was I ended up taking the Pretty Peacock first, and then I used the Wink of Stella. And I'm going to show you that because I find it's a really neat effect. I like to have things a little bit more filled in when I'm doing my, when I'm assembling my cards. Not everybody does, but I tend to like to have it that way. So the distinctive stamps are really great for that. So all I did was I put the two of them on one because I was being lazy, and when I ran it through the Big Shot, then I only had to do it once and not twice. So I can set that aside. And then I'll show you with the Wink of Stella how it will take that ink and smooth it out a little bit. And of course it adds a little bit of glimmer to it at the same time. See, it just blends it really nicely. And I do that to all of the leaves, and then using those little dies from the Forever Fern bundle, I will die cut those out. Okay. Just finish these ones off since I've started. Doesn't take much of the Wink of Stella to blend that ink around either, right? There we go. So as I move it around, I don't know how well you can see the shimmer on those, but hopefully it starts to show a little bit as I move it. Okay. All right, so let's start assembling our card. So I'm going to start with some dimensionals probably on the back of this, just to get me going. Grab my dimensionals, which are here. I place a few. I always like to put some in the center just to hold those pieces together. And I'll put some on the top and the bottom. And before I put the rest on, I want to start putting my flowers, situating the flowers on to the card. So I need to add one of each of the ferns to the back of each of the flowers. I'm going to turn them so that they come this way. I like to have them sort of facing down. like that. Okay, so they'll look something like that. So what I'll do, grab some snail. And then I'll take these and I'll place them like so until I get it where I think I'd like it to be. And then before I push it too hard, just want to measure it on my card and make sure that it looks okay where I've got it placed. And I think I'm going to be okay. So I'll just leave that one for now. I'll do the same with the other one. Again, this one's going to come this way, so I'm going to put some adhesive back here. And turn these guys this way. Sorry, this way. And then I'll have one probably like so. And then this one I'm going to bring in here like this. And then before, again, I want to get it too solid on the card, I'm going to take these guys right like so and just make sure that I've given myself enough space so that I can still see my greeting when I place the flowers onto the front of it. And so far, so good. So now I'm going to use a piece of Scotch tape just to hold those guys down so that they don't move on me. And the same with this one. Okay, and now when I place my flowers, I'll use some Tombow to put them on. Just want to make sure that I don't put, Tombow out on these edges or I'm going to have glue all over the place. So just kind of lining up where I need to put it. Okay, put this one here. Okay, can slide it down just a little bit more. And then this one is going to go here. Put my Tombow on the back. And adhere this one right here. All right, now I can place some more dimensionals on the back to make sure that everybody stays in place and that nothing shifts off into the wrong direction. Okay, grab a couple more dimensionals. I like to put them on the edges there because then everybody is nicely secured. And I'll put a few on the flowers because I want them to be at the same height as the rest of the sentiment. And another one here. All right, I think I've got enough dimensionals on here. Let me just flip it over. Place it on the card and see how it looks. I think it's kind of falling off a little bit there, so I'm going to put one just here as well, just so that it stays level. Okay, great. Now you get to watch me peel all of these off. I'll just quickly get them off. Tweezers are a good thing for that. It starts it for me, and these are what do you call it when they pressure sensitive, so if you put pressure on them it helps to lift that paper backing. Okay, grab the next one. a little tricky today. I don't want to behave. There we go. This one here. Sometimes I never know which ones I've taken it off, but if you just touch the surface of it, you'll feel that whether it's sticky or not, and if it's not, then you got to remove the backing. Just a few more, just give them an extra little push, like so. Oops, took that one right off. All right. I have company coming into the room. My cat likes to come in and be with me when I'm stamping, so he's just decided to join us. All right, so now I can put this down in the center. So I use my grid paper often just to line things up, make sure that the card is straight, and then I can lay my greeting onto the center of the card. Okay, that looks good just like so. Great. All right, so now I'm just going to add a few pearls and my bow, and then my card is almost finished. I'm going to grab a bow that I've already made, but I'll show you how I make my bows. I like to use 2 fingers to do it. I basically just wrap it around the 2 fingers. I come up over the top and down through the back. Squeeze my fingers together to hold it, and then just tuck that piece right in like so. And then that becomes the piece that you use to pull the knot tight in the center. Slip it off your fingers before it gets too tight, otherwise it makes it difficult to get off. And then I just play with it till I get it the right size. I just move this piece over, pull on one side, and then pull the tab on the other, and then tighten it. Okay? Very simple to make a bow that way. So for ours, I'm going to use a glue dot to adhere it to the front of the card. Okay, place a bow right down here, like so. And then I'll use some of those nice little metallic pearls to add to the center of the flower. And once I find them on my desk, then I'll be able to do that. I've gone and moved them all myself. There they are. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to use 3 in the center of each. So I like to use a paper piercer because it's easier to pick them up. I find sometimes they're a little slippery and like to move around like they are right now. There we go. So I'm not going to push it down. I'm just going to place it on here until I get 3 of them so that I can move them around till I get them in the way I like. All right, here's my last one. All right, so now I can take my paper piercer and just kind of play with them a little bit to get them into the right space. There we go, and then press down on top. I'll repeat that on the other flower to make them even. Slippery little devils, they like to jump, like little Mexican jumping beans are all over the place today. There we go. Another one here. And one more. And then poke them around with my paper piercer until I get them in the right position. Like that. There we go. All right. Okay, one last thing. Now what I have left to do is to punch out these little flowers, and I'm going to use Wink of Stella on them as well, and I'm just going to place them randomly around the card. So, new punch. Nice little punch is a coordinating stamp set that goes with this, and you can stamp the flowers and then punch them out right away with the piece of cardstock. They line up perfectly. That stamp set is called Field of Flowers, and that's this one right here. So there's the actual stamp that you would use to stamp on your cardstock. For me, I'm not going to do that this time around, but it's definitely an option. Also, another one of those bundles that I said is available when you join Stampin' Up! That you can get for free. So I'm going to just turn this over. I don't want to lose all those little pieces. There we go. And now taking the Wink of Stella, excuse me, I will color the surface of these guys. And that will just give it that little bit of shine so that they pop a little bit more off my card. I'm going to do them all because I wanted to have each of them on the front of the card. Okay, that one, little one here. Punches out 6 little flowers, various sizes. I like the way Wink of Stella just gives an extra little shine to an image or to a punched out piece of cardstock. It just makes a difference, right? And the nice thing is sometimes, you know, if you're trying to grab sequins to put on top of your cards, they're sometimes not easy to place. They tend to, you have to use glue dots, at least I do, in order for them to stay in place. For this, I'm just going to be able to use some Tombow glue. So let's just move all of these aside, bring our card back in, and place each one on one at a time. So I'm going to use my Tombow, and I'll put a little dot of Tombow for one of the flowers here. There we go. I think I'm almost out. That's when a big glob will probably come out and just explode all over my card. That wouldn't make me happy, so I'll use my paper piercer to try to get the adhesive out of the way. See, I told you. Knew that was going to happen. Almost saved the day there. A little one there and a little one there. Grab one of these flowers, place it right here. And then another one. Right there. Okay, and I'll do the same up here. One there and one there. Okay, and this little one right here. And then a couple down here. One there, and one there. Looks good. All right, almost finished the card. Hopefully you're enjoying this card. All of these supplies, I'm going to list them on my blog post. You'll be able to recreate the card yourself using all the supplies that I've shown you today. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I hope to see you in my craft room again. Take care. Bye now.